This is one, chat. YouTube watching. This is actually one that Elf has been loving recently.
I usually like to start with this, what we call the safe pick.
Okay.
Right, or the OP picks, which are usually the Knights, G.Purrgis, or if you're cleaving the Cerises, we call them the safe picks. Not real, there's no real hard counters to them, or if they want to hard counter them, they already need to bring 2 units.
All right, guys. You want to say hi to YouTube? YouTube, welcome. Today we got a good review for y'all. If you haven't met him yet, Mr. Elvemage, he is a Twitch streamer, so just like some of y'all come hang out with me, make sure you check him out at is at what? Twitch.tv/Elvemage. We'll do another shout out later. But this man is an RTA legend. So we're gonna check out his account, check out the review, check out the units, and then do a quick AMA with him. Find out what's a trap. Yeah, we're gonna rate it and everything. So stay tuned for the guest talk right after. All right. Elv, let's go ahead and just start. Let me give y'all some quick background info. He's been playing since... he said 2 years. So not quite from the start. Favorite unit is easily top model Luluca, Iseria, and Arbiter. And then... prior to this year, Light Spender. So Light Spender initially, like 200 euro. And then this year, spent a lot more. Alva, I'll ask you about that. It's probably because we were trying to get more competitive in the RTA scene, right? Spent a lot more. Okay. Alrighty, let's take a look. No code, we're just started. We're gonna do a review right now. Alright, boys. Number 1 CP on the list is... whoa! 200k CP Kise. Take a look. 30 basket. Interesting. A rank imprint. So not Wind Rider. Uh-oh. Chat, this might be one of the best Kises we've seen thus far. The stats look beautiful. We hit that 250 threshold. 4k attack. Almost 300 crit damage. Perfect crit. A little bit of wasted effect resist, but everything else looks great, man. Holy. It's this... oh, he'll reroll that. I mean, it probably doesn't matter too much because it's on the chest piece in Ori. Right? But I guess he could get health or something. Alright. Very nice, man. Oh, he wants the ER for the CP. Hey, I like it too. But no joke, guys. I think this is one of the best, if not the best Kise we've seen so far. I'm sure someone could make a better one, but from what we've seen on the channel... very, very strong, dude. EE is, yeah, S3. S3. Alright. TML. Tomoka. 260 speed. Which is still very fast. We saw a few 270s like Yamin's, but 260 is good. Attack. This is one of his favorite units, by the way. Friendship 10. A rank imprint. Let's go through the gear. That adds 10k CP for 50... is that the trick? Oh, man. Boys, if you want to get higher CP on your units just to flex, get a little bit of effect resist, I guess. Yeah. Stat-wise, guys, looks solid enough, right? Very fast. The damage looks good. But some of the better speed plus damage gear, I think, went to Kise. Still very strong. 24 Dingus Orb. All right, so far looks really good. So we see a lot of high tempo units so far from Kise TML. Next up, we got the Spec Tenny. First glance, not 100 crit, 50-50. No wasted effect resist or effectiveness. And we got... all right, it looks like we have about 2k more health than some Stennies. But about 100 less defense. So the bulk is good. The bulk is good. A lot of people have been preferring to hit that 1400 benchmark. But the health is above average for sure. It's got immunity. The attack looks solid as well. Same with the crit damage. So the 2% missing crit. That's about it. It's the only thing we really complain about. Everything else looks very solid. She'll be 99 after the max. Which one is it? This one right here. little bit more from the helmet. Okay. She'll be 99 crit, guys. Looks very good. All right, Iseria. I had a question lately, guys, on should Iseria be built like speed utility or for damage? You know what I told them in the comments for my YouTube watchers? I said most of my endgame guys that have Iserias, they do it all. So it'll have damage. It'll be fast enough where, you know, it'll go early. But some of them even have effectiveness. Elv opted to not go for effectiveness, though. And we'll ask him about that later, right? We'll ask him how he prefers Iseria, because I think that's a common question right now. We've all been saying she's much better than a lot of people initially thought. But Elv opted to go for low effectiveness. Everything else, though. Speed, attack, damage, etc. I'm going to show the stats real fast. Perfect 1k defense, dude. Whoa! 33 crit chance helmet. Oh my god. Very nice, man. That's pretty insane. Alright, looks good. T-Cern. Very nice speed. Low health. 90 crit though, Elv. And we also have some 44 effectiveness, which I'm assuming is kind of just brought in from the free gear, right? Like this chest piece has a lot. 18 basket too. It's a little bit light. You know, this will obviously work, boys. But compared to his other units so far, it's not looking too hot. Still very good overall. Just not a Banshee gamer. Display, welcome on in, man. Okay. Yeah. The neck and the chest. So no Banshee. We'll ask him on that too. Landy. Chat. We got a 1200 defense. Health. The bulk is a little bit light, I think, Elv, compared to some other Landies. We got immunity, though. Speed looks solid. Missing a little bit of crit, but crit damage is good as well. So high attack, high crit damage. How often do we draft her? Do we draft this Landy a lot? Yeah, but Rev, here, let me make a quick comment. Rev is saying T-Cern can use effectiveness. Sure. A lot of units can use effectiveness, and her debuffs are strong. But guys, heads up, newsflash. 56 effectiveness. At that point range, it might as well be 0. Does that make sense? Now, with Frenzy, maybe you'll push up to 100, where then you'll be able to debuff a Krau. But in real practice, right, that's not going to matter. The initial get-go, you're just at 56 effectiveness, you're only going to be debuffing DPS units or units with 0 ER anyways. And so the thought process is, unless you're going for like 100 plus, it usually is better spent elsewhere, right? No one is saying effectiveness is not useful, though. Okay. The bulk is just a little light, right? Other than that, the damage is very good. I'm sure it works fine. Usually you fight against her, so she's not one of your higher picks. Okay. I want to write that down, though. Let's see what Elv talk about drafting a bit. Drafting style. All right. So he says he usually fights Landies, and I think a lot of people need help fighting Landies. How did I say it's worse than his? Sermia. That's what I like to see, Elv. Telenori. Sermia on free gear, boys. For World Boss CP, maybe for a trial here and there, but yeah, just give her free gear, dude. Celine. Okay, we got the Sword Art Storm. It's at 15, though, so there's some RNG, but very high attack. Good crit damage, good crit chance. Elf, how often do we bring her out as like a counter pick in RTA? Would you say you often, very rarely, and on these stats it works just fine? I'm basically asking, is she actually using RTA? A bench Sermia? You always forget you have her built, so she usually doesn't come into play. Alright, fair enough. We have a Spez at 29 Dreamblade. Elf, we're just missing that last 1%, sure. But he has immunity. Very high health, 20k. So he's got some bulk. The defense is low, but the health will make up for that. Speed is decent, and the crit damage look good enough. I like this build, actually. Chat, any Spez users? What do we think about this? I'll show the gear. Is Karen worth bringing up 6 stars? For Wyvern, it can be. She can be. Double health, crit damage neck. Okay. Speed over counter. I've seen Valkyrie. I've seen a lot of people running their Spezes on speed. Counter was like what they were testing initially because we saw his buffs, and it looked like it would be nice with counter. But everyone we've reviewed so far, yeah, they're always on speed. You have a preference, Elv? What do you think about speed set so far? And thoughts on Spez? He's your rep. Cigarette. Wyvern Cigarette. Probably get a little bonus crit from Furious or something. But, yeah, it's a Wyvern unit. Luluca, same thing, probably. Yep. Wyvern, Expedition, something like that. Here we go. Plus 15 MRSA, boys. All right, Elv. I'm noticing one thing, though. You're going to have to tell us which units are being used or not. She's at lower crit rate. And she has under 4. So I'm assuming the MRSA is not being used actively right now, right? So Ev's take on Spez. Too much RNG, but he's fun to use. Got it. All right. Yeah, just Underforged, plus 29 MLDB, and then we got a plus 9 Violet. Work in progress, maybe, right, Elv? Hey, but if any of these you're drafting them, let us know. All right, RB, here we go. This is obviously DJ and RB because he's only at 100 KCP. Health looks great. Bulk looks pretty good. Attack is nice. We actually have a little bit of speed, 30 Dreamblade. And of course, counter immunity. I'll show the stats right now. User today ungeared and won the match. Whoa. Let's look at her again real fast then. Elv, thoughts on DJ and RB? Tell me one thing, okay? Are we running him on this style because mostly your speed and damage gear are going to your Kise and your Tomoka? Or do you actually really like this kind of counter style build? Because it's a lot more players are shifting away from this. As the thought process is, it's really good versus cleave, but against like bruisers or things, it flops pretty hard. It's mostly because of the gear went to someone else. Got it. Babies, what's going on, man? Alrighty. By the way, guys, he said he drafted this and it worked. So once he gets it built up, damn, at 74 crit and 9 Violet Talisman, huh? I guess you just gotta dodge, and then as long as you don't miss the crit. Okay, guys, I guess if Elv is using it where he's at in RTA, can always get away with less. Vivian. Uh-oh. Work in progress, world boss. I don't think we're using this Vivian too much. Unless I'm mistaken. Elv, tell us, actually. I would love for you to tell me, Car. I use her all the time. But we're missing some crit chance. The speed not particularly impressive. Unused. Okay, got it. Unused. Awin. 24 holy sack. Good health. Good crit chance. Crit damage good enough. 100 effectiveness. Speed immunity. Check it out. Hey. Edge is mad. This is a sign of good resource usage, right? I don't know if I was going to those 13k though. It is free unequip weekend. But yeah. He's using it for sure. So yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? Valk makes a great point, guys. Having this bruiser stats while also maintaining both immunity to Valk and 100 effectiveness is insane, dude. Wow, this is actually really, really... Speed is also solid. This is a very, very stat efficient Tywin, man. This is possibly one of the better units we've looked at his account so far. Very nice. Crit chance neck. So I mentioned earlier, right, guys? Like with the example of the T-Surin. 50 effectiveness doesn't matter too much. 100 though, we can start hitting those units that are built around 100 ER, like the Kraus. And then once the frenzy scaling kicks in, we can even hit higher ER units as well as the match progresses. Hey, Ravi. Okay. Elv, go ahead and chat and tell us your thoughts on A Ravi. It seems like we're working towards it be. Oh, this is revenge. Never mind. So two-piece broken set. Stats are okay. The bulk is a little bit light, I think, compared to some we've seen. The defense is decent. Very high crit damage. Do we draft this a lot? Yes, it is. Oh, so this is being tested, dude. The stats are good though. I'm sure it's gonna work fine. A Ravi. What do we think, Elv? A lot of players. So we ranked her kind of. It wasn't the tier list, but we ranked Ravi a little bit lower than normal this season. my main thought process is she's kind of just getting overshadowed by other bruisers of her type. So think of things like Fire Ravi. It could be both. Unclips, do whatever you want in chat. But I'm doing this more as a guest talk for YouTube, so I won't be roasting as hard as normal. Insane A Ravi. I'll say this. We've seen some... This is very good. It's good enough. Maybe way better than good enough. But we've seen some crazy A Ravis in the past. Red. Yeah, you guys can roast if you want. Yeah, so she just has some issues right now with the lack of AoE. Not high enough tempo, probably. But Elf says she's getting the Golden Boy draft. That's what I want to hear. So... Maybe you pick her when your opponents get the Golden Boys, right? Okay. Alexa. It's a Wyvern Alexa. Looks good. Ravi. Here we go. Let's see the Ravi Elvemage. Very high HP. Holy crap. Not only is it above 20k, 21, almost 22k HP. Speed, though, very, very low. Which is probably fine on counter. I like the bulk, man. And then the crit chance is good enough. And the crit damage is very good. The attack is also pretty damn good. Wow. I like this style of Ravi, man. Jin, 21k, 1200 defense is squish. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Now, Jin, rephrase your statement. Squish for top legend, which Elv is pushing for. Because, come on, man. This Ravi, effective HP-wise, is good. Hey, whoa, oh, wait. 20 speed boots? Interesting, okay. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Apparently, though, Red, I know we're roasting just because roast review, but does she need attack? Are you talking about the Ravi machine, or are we talking about a Ravi? Because 2600 is that's a fine point. We see a lot of Ravis around this range, 25 to 3k. Someone actually do the effective HP, boys, for 21.7k health and 1200 defense. What does that equate to? Because a lot of the Ravis we see here, 1500 defense, 1400 defense, like 17k health, 16k health, and usually that's fine. But Jin is saying at the highest levels of play, this is going to be too squished. So Jin, what would you recommend? What would you recommend? And Elvis saying it's good versus, wow, very nice ring. Good versus blue Krau. Right, so true damage. Also not as weak to like defense break, but let's be honest, if your defense broken, we're kind of pooping our pants, right? All right. Low compared to what? This is the same as a 15. Yeah, and Red, I mean 1500 defense, 16k health Ravis. I think that's pretty acceptable. The other stats look good too, but I guess overall, for what y'all are saying, for a player of Elf's caliber, y'all are really roasting on the bulk. But good versus Kraus. Good versus true damage. This is one. All chat. Right, Elphelt. YouTube watching. This is actually one that Elf has been loving recently. Elf, are we still loving her as much this far in? Speed hit set. Very nice speed. With a new revamp, you know, we drop most of the crit chance. Good crit damage. We even have a little bit of effectiveness there. He said yes in all caps, boys. He's loving the Elphelt still. Love to see it. User like yesterday. Okay, well, we'll definitely talk about a few things. I'll write them all down, but I want to talk to him about Elphelt, the climb, and then we'll have a chance. Guys, all y'all that have critiques of his units, Elv, write them down. I'll give you a chance to, you know, give your thought process. So if you want to tell Jin, you know, for me it works. For the Ravi, for example, things like that. The boots. Very good boots. Okay, cool. Blue Luna. Because Emma Luna's coming. Free gear. Hate to see it, but you know what? If I give Sarmi a crap, yeah, same thing with Luna. Champ Z. 30 proof. Lifesteal set. Oh, wait. We're using the 85 lifesteal from the Abyss chess piece? Because I think the other lifesteal set was on T.Tenebria, right, Elf? Jin, I can check in a sec. Don't lie to YouTube about what? What am I lying to them about? Alright. Stat-wise, I think the defense is a little bit low, but a lot of it is underforged. So with proof, he's going to be fine. I think, guys, with the Champ Z situation, if you draft him correctly, meaning your opponent gave you a chance to, you know, counter their debuffers, and then he doesn't get banned, obviously he's going to be fine. But we have 85 gear, a lot of free gear, underforged gear. Actually, 0 reforged gear, so more of a counter pick option. Oh, and he's not a Banshee gamer yet. Yeah. Red, that's what I think too, but apparently it's the squishiest thing they've ever seen. SBA. Guys, real fast, can I just have one quick second? Because after our ML5 review video, I had like a few comments, 1 or 2. Car, it's so disappointing to see. I gotta disagree with SBA. I think she's amazing. She carried me through everything. Chat, she just has too many weaknesses, right? Just objectively. If you like her and you want to run her, I'm sure you can do fine with it. But the more serious RTA players, it's really hard to run her, right? I don't think anything changed in that regard. Even after post buff. If your opponent gives her a chance through, of course, she's gonna steamroll, right? She has so many powerful skills, but it's tough, dude. I don't know. Yeah. So if there are any people that, you know, think SB is being underutilized and we're just missing something, tell us. But so far, that's what I see too. I also have an SBA 6-star built when I first got her, and unfortunately, there's just better options. Okay, fair enough. All right, Alencia. Elv, wait. We have a plus 12 weapon on this Alencia? All right. Elv, make sure you tell me, like, just like in the situation with the MRSA, are we busting her out sometimes? Because if some of these units are still getting used, he's out of gold. Fair, but Elv, tell me, because I'm trying to figure out the sort of player you are. Elv, if you had to, would you still draft this in a match? Because so we have 2 different types of players. Jintei is like, Jin needs the perfect stats and everything, which is fair. We did a Jintei review. People loved it. Some of the craziest gear. But look, guys, here's what I like to see too, though. Now, of course, Elv, you know, Elv, what did we place last season? Were we top 100? Did we get legend? Regardless, he's a very strong player, but just like with this MRSA I'm about to show y'all, he will not, even if the unit is not completely ready, and the stats from a lot of y'all watching are like unusable, not good enough, he says he'll bust them out, and he says he wins with them. Now, of course, could the stats be better? Yeah, I mean, he just needs a plus 15 this, he needs to reforge his helmet and the neck. But that's what I'm noticing from his account. Even when stuff's not ready, if it's close enough, he has no fear running them. And I think he has some success, so maybe as long as his draft phase is on point, if he feels like it's okay spot to bring it, yeah, he'll bring this shit when it's not even fully reforged. Up to, like, legend quality. It is 240 speed, though. That's kind of crazy, right? So maybe that makes a difference. You know what? I kind of glossed over that. The MRSA, even though she's 74 crit, is 240 speed. All right. Fighter Maya, 30 Elbrus. Also missing some reforges, Elv. But overall, the stat line is pretty solid. The speed is fine. We're missing 3 reforges in this. Oh, but it's broken set with speed. Okay, got it. Confused me for a second. I mean, missing 3% crit. Crit damage is good enough. Defense is a little bit light. Health is a little bit light. But I mean, at 30 Elbrus, she'll do her job. He's missing a lot of stats, though, from these 3 reforges. Yeah. I mean, Red, there's so many stats being missed. He says he doesn't use her anymore. Elv. Actually, guys, you in chat that have a fighter Maya, mine's ungeared, but that's because of I'm running designer Dilibet. And who kind of share similar gear. Anyone still like loving fighter Maya, or do y'all think also you've had better options or differing stuff you're testing? Because I think her too. We don't see her as often in RTA at least. Yeah, of course, she's very good in GVG. SSB. Very high attack. The bulk is also good. The bulk's good, but people are shifting towards like 20k health now. I think the bulk is actually really insane for that attack. We sacrifice crit chance, of course. Have a little bit of crit damage. And then 0 speed. Attack set is interesting though, Elf. Did we actually run some golem, or this is mostly like world boss drops? He said incoming Golem Gamer. Golem Gamer, boys. It's definitely a different account than what we're used to watching or reviewing. Valk, you're still running her a lot? Guys, trust me, I love Fighter Mine. She had so much success for me. But for me personally, it's just because I was testing out Dilibet and they share gear. And I've also noticed, though, I see a little bit less Fighter Mayas than like last season for sure. Okay. He used to farm Golem early game. Got it. And what would you tell the people? People watching the review, would you recommend them to farm Golem early game, or what's your take on it? Chat, let's let him answer that one. G.Purrgis. So we saw his A Taiwan is very good. His G.Purrg, the other golden boy. Attack looks okay. I think there might be a few attack subs in there, yeah. Some attack percent there. 50% attack on the boots, okay. He said, please don't farm Golem, even if you can't do Wyvern. Got it. Yeah, and that's the take. Guys, no one farm Golem. It is kind of a mistake. Alright, so defense looks good, guys. Health looks good. Speed looks very good. Crit chance good enough. Crit damage is there. I think this is a solid G.Purrg, right, boys? The only thing is some people in chat might say, you know, they like a little bit more attack because it scales pretty well with his damage. But Elv, another thing, we're missing Reforge, man. I understand it's because of the gold. But it'll be even better once he gets that chest piece Reforged here. Maybe we're waiting for something slightly better. Something with crit chance, possibly. Because that does look a little bit low rolled, I think, right? Yeah. Okay. G.Purrg looks solid, though. Roz. Ooh. Grim, check this out. Bulk is extremely high for Roz, man. Speed looks good enough. We got some effectiveness. A little bit of wasted ER, but that's okay. It's a Roz. Works well. At 240, yeah, usually we'll see 250 plus, but I think the exchange for health, it's kind of nice depending on if that's what he wants. I would almost run Aureus, though, or something at that health range. But people really like, you know, the faster you are, Rise of a Monarch gets a lot of value, so. It looks good. Looks good, man. All right. Dilibet. Elv, while we look through the stats, can you tell us your thoughts on Dilibet? How often do you draft her? She has gear on, so I'm assuming you still use her here and there. But this is another one, guys, that's kind of polarized on what y'all think of her. When we were rating her yesterday, some of y'all said she's very bad. Some of y'all really like her, like, higher up. I've been using her. I think where she works just fine. And I like the fact that she can also do damage as a bruiser. But the main thing we took from, I believe it was Jace's review, is that she's super weak to things like Last Rider Krau. Because after you strip, right? Or after you cleanse, excuse me. You want her to be doing some like silences, things like that, or the skill pushback on her S3. So you may favor some other cleanses instead. Has saying he still likes Dilibet. She's good at what she does. Right. But Elvis saying she's a good, but she's a weird unit. What do you mean by weird? Immunity's nice though. Defense is a little light, but for immunity, the speed, and the health, yeah, this looks like a solid Dilibet for sure. It's kind of got everything you want, I think. The immunity is very good too, because chat, if you're watching, YouTube, if you're watching and you're wondering why immunity on a unit that will cleanse itself, it's because there's certain tactics you can use against Dilibet to like stun her, right? In which case she'll skip her turn. You can basically abuse her her cleanse push S2. Oh, and yeah, versus things like RTA Mercedes. That's a great point, Rick. Immunity is just always nice to have usually. So same thing with A-Win, right? A Taiwan, which Elv, I believe, also had his A Taiwan on immunity. All right. Iseria. World Boss, free gear, expedition. Bazaar. Oh my god. What is this disgusting bazaar? So we're going 0 effectiveness, which is fine because we run the book. But 285 speed at that bulk is pretty damn good. Imagine too, guys, he can almost have immunity if he... Well, it's going to be very hard to replace this neck, right? But if he was somehow to get an immunity neck, he could even have an immunity for 285 just in case he wants to, you know. Because this will easily survive like an acid. No questions asked, right? You can do 280. What do you think, Elv? I think you just want the speed right now, but if you were ever able to get that, that seems nice. 23 on the weapon. Let's look through the stats, boys. 23 on the weapon. 20 on the helmet. 21 on the chest. Oh my god. 22 on the neck as we saw. 19 on the ring, so we were almost batting at 20 plus on every piece. We're very close. Average is definitely, though, above 20. Holy mama. Red, tell me about it, man. Chat. Yeah. That's very nice. And the nice thing is, too, besides the weapon, I guess the helmet, too. The main stat from defense here, health flat, main there. You know, you get a little bit of health subs here and there. The bulk is still pretty good, too, which I like a lot. And then the boots have a ton of defense. All right. One of the best bazaars we've seen for sure. Cerise. Okay, so the bazaar is almost fast as Cerise because obviously he has the best speed gear. The Cerise though, it's a Cerise, right? It works. Usually 290s kind of where you see things, but 288, same shit. Good effectiveness. Sorry, I mean to go in there. We'll show the stats. 20 on speed set is just a dream. I have... On a speed set, I think I have one piece, and it's my weapon. Everything else is like 17, 18. Guys, how many 20 plus items, speed subs do you have on a speed piece? Because I think I have, maybe I have 2. Maybe a neck. But it might be crit chance. Yeah, that's a good point, too. You really want that 20 speed plus on a speed set, right? Because you have to hit those 4 speed pieces. And it's always like those random gear you have that hits high rolls, man. It sucks. 0, 0. Really? No way. Some of y'all have seen our speedsters. You have 0? Alright, Valk, we'll have to check it out. Yeah. Feels bad. Okay, ADS. Let's see this. Plus 12 book. Very fast. We are insane speed here. Alright, so Elv, this build is interesting. So we have the book plus a speed. Because I'm assuming we want to land... We want to speed to this... Hopefully we get a 30 book eventually, right? But we want to land a seal onto something and then kill it. Like, let's say an Arbiter or Ruele. T-Surin, right? Cancel their defensive passive and then kill it. We also have some bulk to survive, but that's about it. Now, my only issue, Elf, is are we running this mostly... This is before ML Haste. Got it. So we were just using this to counter Arby's. That's our one goal here, because... The issue is, Elv, right? If we're fighting speed Arby's, they'll be faster. If we're fighting degen Arby's, they'll have immunity, like Rick pointed out, so we'll have to bring another strip in front of it. It's why I've just never really liked this build. But if you were using it for one situation and you have the, you know, strip before, I'm sure it's fine. He says he uses haste now, though. Alright, M.O.Ken. Guys, M.O.Ken is one that's getting dunked on big time, right? I don't know, guys. The more we talk about ML.Ken, y'all are saying the worst, one of the worst ML5s in the game, some of y'all say. And pretty much everyone we review, it's usually, yeah, he's usually just benched. Right, Elv? We don't really draft him anywhere or use him anywhere. He's just, looks like he's kind of got some basic gear on. ML.Ken, let me see it. I'm assuming, do you have imprints? We have a little bit of imprints. B rank. 1 imprint. Okay. Fluri. Ooh. We're zooming, boys. 281 speed. Decent bulk. I mean, for 281 speed, the bulk's still good enough. And then we even have a little bit of effectiveness here, too. This is what I notice a lot on Elv's account. So, we talked about effectiveness earlier, so I don't want to bring it up again too much. But, Elv, thought process on the 80. Like, you have a lot of units that are like 70, 80 effectiveness. Which, right, I covered it earlier. You kind of want to hit that 100. If you're going for min effectiveness, you usually want to reach that 100 threshold. Because that's where most people are bringing their units. Right, and you know what? 80 is still good enough. But we were starting to get into the, you know, they'll have a little bit of a chance to resist at 80 and at 75, which I think was earlier. Dante, LD player. Guys, y'all know my first recommendation is now LD player. But LD player, blue stacks, Mimu. Try to avoid knocks. But any of those will work. Try out all of them. If the first one works flawlessly, just stick with it. It depends on your PC. Depends on your setup. Alright, but yeah, that's just one note I've been noticing on Elves. His effectiveness is usually Right, we want to stop the 100 DR units, but that's why usually I see people push for the 100. But hey, it's close enough, right? If they're exactly at 100, it's 5. They'll have 5% extra chance to resist 20%, which is not a big deal. Who cares? All right, so speed hit, very good speed, 21 JFA. Cool. I say avoid Nox, guys. Do your own research, but they've been known to add, especially if you're inexperienced with PCs, they add in a lot of bloatware, and sometimes it's even malicious software or what do you call it, like adware, spyware, whatever. It's been confirmed they add that stuff in. I don't know if they changed it recently, but I know for sure back when we were first starting, they did stuff like that. All right, Elv. Time of truth. And you know, we'll have you on voice too to cover any of these extra thoughts. But yeah, so Greater, we say it's still good. And you know, every unit, even SBA, we talked about, every unit ML5 has a situation where they can be good. But in the grand scheme of things, people keep rating him lower and lower. Yesterday when we were rating the ML.Ken, and in a lot of the comments, people were like, guys, this unit should definitely be above ML.Ken. Meep, when we brought him on, was like, Car, you can't put Maid Chloe below ML.Ken. I'm just saying, I don't know. Everyone thinks, a lot of players have considered him the lowest rung of ML5s, right? Not to say he doesn't have a spot somewhere. Some people are mentioning he's good in Guild for Skills still. Sure. Anyways, Elf, Solitaria. Oh no. That is the last thing I wanted to hear, guys. Elf's take. This is why I wanted to bring him on, boys. Spicy take. Endgame player pushing for top 10. Must pull. All right, Elf, if you can. And if you want to, and just say, Car, I can explain it better in voice. We'll bring you on right after you look at the units. You can do that. But are we saying it's mostly because the must pull factor? Is it because of the anti-focus? That's the main selling point? I'm trying to ask, are we saying she's must pull because her kid is good right now, or because future proof? We got to cover everything in the future, right? Okay, so it's mostly the S2 anti-focus. That's fair. I think that's fair. I agree, Mystic. All right. Stat-wise, boys. Elv, are we drafting her right now? What do you think about her right now besides the future-proof anti-focus kind of mechanic? Just in general. Someone I think earlier had a great take. Was that you and Nori? Someone said this about Solitaria. Obviously, guys, she can counter focus units very hard, right? SSB, Ruele, things like that. But when she doesn't get pre-banned, because if your opponent is getting, if you draft her properly, your opponent picks some focus units, and then, you know, you bring out the Solitaria to counter those focus units, they'll usually ban her. But when she makes it through somehow, or if you're trying to force her into comps that don't have against focus units, a lot of people are reporting that she's very underwhelming. But Elvis saying she's always banned. In the one game she wasn't banned, you won. Okay. All right. I think everyone else that's still on the fence, though, just wait a little bit longer. You still have time. But I don't know. I think the general consensus is shifting towards she's a nice pickup. But I'll say one more time, and I mentioned the stream. Sorry, I have to cut in your review. This is my take on it, guys. If this is your first pity, and you don't have a lot of other ML5s, or your roster is just kind of lacking, I think other units will be better. And Elv even said specifically for top 10 legend. So people that really take stock into RTA and want the anti-focus future proof, she's great. But I think everyone else, if you're lacking a lot of other units, there's going to be some other ML5s that'll be much more impactful, okay? And yeah, Violin for sure, because she's the one that breaks Violin. The only unit that breaks Violin. Right, Greater. I agree. I agree, man. Okay. Let's see the Krau. Okay. I mean, it's a Krau, guys. It works. Good effective HP. It's missing the 100 DR, though. But I mean, if he needs to draft it, it'll do its job, right? Might get provoked, though, here and there. Other than that, though, it's a Krau. Looks good. Coco, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I'm getting hungry, though. We'll see if Ink wants to get anything for dinner. All right. Lilius. Another standard Lilius. Lately, we've seen a lot of Bruiser Lilius come out. A few, like, high ER Liliuses. But this one is just a standard, very high, like, good enough speed. Solid Lilius, I think. Which I feel like, Elv, most people have dropped this kind of Lilius. Thoughts on, did you pick this out specifically, that speed point, and then not going for, like, damage or high ER? Anti-Fluri, he says. She's an anti-flurry pickup. Got it. Okay, fair enough. Speed 2 to go, typically that speed point he wants right after the flurry, I'm assuming, Elv, right? Then slam the S3, and then we use other units for if we need. What about Bazaar? Do you reach for this when you're fighting Bazaars, Elv? I know you usually have the Bazaar probably, but if your opponent gets it, even at 0 yard, would you still risk that? DJB. Ooh, wait, we went mega high defense, very low HP. Speed is above average, and ER a little bit light, but I think it'll be okay. He uses Flurry Alpha for Bazaar. Got it. Elv, DJB thoughts? He's got gear on. Yeah, so you know what? That's a great point, Talos. The high defense, right? He'll get more procs off Water's Origin because of the max health is kind of low. And now he has also the damage reduction on the S3, right? So, wait, Elvis saying DJB insane? If you see an early pick, A-Town and Braceria, just pick DJB. My man, guys. I've been looking for a reason to run this man. Now, this is another polarizing unit. Some people, some of the legends that YouTube guys, those of you that watch on YouTube have seen, namely like Sedge, they think he's just very bad overall, even post-buff. But the more and more we talk, I think it was on the last review too. I think we brought on, I can't remember who we brought on, but Vinny and the crew were also like just saying he's terrible. Elvis is swearing by him. I like that thought process though. So the tech is Water Origin, low HP. And if you ever see a Braceria a tie win early, just slam this down. So 214 ER good enough? Alright. I like it, man. The more people say like swear by him, I think he has a spot for sure. And then maybe it's just preference at that point. Some people aren't liking him. But the players that love him, they're making it work to great success. Watcher Shuri ungeared, sure. Haste, here we go. He said he's now opting for Haste instead of the Meru. Stat line, solid. It's got immunity. HP looks good. Defense looks very good. Speed is there. You even have high crit, which is kind of relevant, boys. Units like this, units like LR Krau, units like Blue Krau even, that have, you know, either a big S3 and then most of the time they're just spamming S1s. The higher crit chance you get, especially as the match progresses, it's nice to, when you crit, you're getting so much free damage, and they will, you know, secure kills. Like this can secure a kill on a squishy unit with an S1. So I'm assuming that's intended, Elv, I hope. Otherwise, we just have a lot of random crit. But everything else is on point, so it doesn't matter, even if it was not intended. Because the health, defense, speed is all there, right? It's all there, so looks good. The only thing, I guess, is some people might opt for some attack. If you weren't aware, Last Rider Krau and Blood Moon Haste, you know, they do benefit. G.Purrgis is kind of a common one. It's more, you know, you assume even on an HP scaling unit, attack is good. But for Haste and Krau, the true damage, attack also affects that. And some people opt for a little bit more attack. Or even we'll go for like attack ups. Crit chance generates a lot of value. Alright, yeah, looks good. I like this Haste a lot. Ruele. We got Touch of Rakos. And also, I mentioned in the ratings yesterday, the Ruele gear is kind of shifting. We're no longer going for 200 plus ER. We're shifting. We've seen as low as 0 ER. A lot of them at like 100. Elv is also opting for very low ER. Check the neck. Turn on the Haste. Oh, let me show all the gear on Haste real fast. Did I skip that, Red? My bad, my bad. Ruele, though. Talk to us about the Ruele, Elv. Do we like her as a Soul Weaver? Does she kind of just have gear on to have gear on, or are we using her? I think your playstyle, you probably don't draft her too often, right? Because we want to be the aggressors with the Bizarre Elphelt kind of combo. The faster units, the Tomoka Kise. I feel like maybe we don't draft her too often. Mixture of intended gear, I've got it. Alright, let's look at the stats. Oh, he does draft her a lot. He says, she's my go-to my go-to Soul Weaver for tourneys and last day of season. In RTA? So you did take, he said he did take some gear away from her. Fair enough. And you like the Rakos? We actually had a conversation on stream about this earlier. You are running a Rakos on her, okay. Alright, FCC. Let's check out the FCC next. Full Reforge. 30k health, you always love to see it. All right, another non-bruiser has, remember what I was saying, guys? A lot of people are shifting their FCCs just to have a lot of bulk, the typical FCC. Almost every FCC we've seen lately is like this. Speed looks good. Health is amazing. Defense looks good enough. Yeah, it's an FCC, right, boys? Looks really nice. 29 Aureus. That way, when he wants to run a 30 Aureus on like his Krau, if he ever needs to draft them together, he'll have the unit that has a 30 take the damage share. That's what the 29 is for. I'm assuming. How many imprints? None. 0 imprint, 30k health. Elv, we love it, dude. That's nice. Let me show the stats again real fast. 42 health right there. 31 here. How was on the weapon? 28 plus a flat. 400 plus main stat health. 400 flat. And then 400 flat here with 32%. Very nice, man. Yeah, 0 imprints, boys. I like it, man. Red is saying the introduction of the non-bruiser FCCs because of F10. All right, fire Charlotte. When do we bust this out? We have a little bit of crit chance. I mean, I think for any serious RTA player, you want to have a pocket Charlotte, right? I'm assuming versus Landys and S10s. Extra reach. She is a knight. The interesting, though, is you're opting for portrait instead of JFA for the self buff. Or like more survivability or something. This is Elvemage's review, guys. Elvemage. I'm sure you know him. Sure you love him. Leprox. Did you just tune in? I literally explained the 29 Aureus. I made sure to explain it. Tell me you just tuned in and then I'll explain it again. Or if you can, check the VOD for me, please. Alright. Just built through the season, still work in progress. What's the plan for her, though? So maybe you'll shift the artifact? Is it to reach Landy's Stannies? I need to pick up one, too, just as a pocket pick. I think everyone should have a Charlotte. All your non-crit chance gear can go to her. You know, she's a knight. So actually, I remember, like Careless was saying, he likes to run, like, Adamant Shield on his Charlotte. And her kit is just kind of nice as a niche pickup, counter pick. All right, Leprox real fast. It's so he can run plus 30 Aureus and they don't interfere with each other. He can determine who takes the damage share. All right, Karen ungeared, or for Wyvern or something. Violet ungeared. Politis. 217 speed. Bulk is a little bit light. I mean, Elv. With this stat line, which is, it looks fine. It has immunity. But this stat line, we just, if our opponent's going full cleave or something, or CR pushes, we draft her. And usually she'll get banned out, right? So the stats aren't too important. Is that the thought process? It is crown, so maybe also some, are we running on arena defense or something? Yeah, it's plus 12 neck. Red. We've seen a lot of plus 12s, a lot of plus 15s under Forged. And Elf says he still drafts it. So I'm trying to clarify here for everyone watching. Let's look at the stats. Yeah, so I like this take, guys. The unit just existing. On top of that, like what you saw with the Alencia and the MRSA, missing some reforges, even missing like plus 15 gear, he will still draft them. Now, I'm sure, Elv, like if it ever came down to it, let's say the situation happened where they made it through, maybe those extra stats would have mattered. But for the most part, right, just having that unit on usable enough gear, seems like it's been working out for you. Make Chloe at plus 14. Wow, we molded, dude. We molded fully on this girl. So we said ML.Ken earlier, guys. Made Chloe also one of the contenders for probably the most needed help for ML5s. And I'm assuming she just has backup gear, right? Leftover gear. Oh, no, he was saying for the 50 ER and Politis backup gear. Okay. Go, what's going on, man? Haste ungeared. Tama. All right, guys, we're getting down. I think we've covered most of the units. Good looking Tama. Very budget. I like to see that. Very, very budget. Politica ungeared. A-Win ungeared. Blue Tywin. Okay. Dizzy and BBK also ungeared. Tea time. Elv. Is there a reason? Because you do have like the Cerise ungeared, Bazaar ungeared. Last thing we'll talk about before we bring you on. What's with the why is the tea time ungeared currently? Look at the ring. Very nice. Unfortunately, though, it's on a hit set, right? And I think most people now want their T times on speed, or sorry, speed immunity. But like if we just put that on someone else that doesn't care about immunity, very good, dude. She's your pre-ban, so we take the gear from for other people. Got it, got it. Wow. Yeah, plans for her. Yeah, so you hate tea time, which I think a lot of people banked. Banks, are you saying you agree with Langeared because she's easy to counter now, or she's more easy to answer, or what? All right. Chat. Prepare your AMAs. I want to go through a few things with Elf here. Y'all can go ahead and hear him if you haven't met him yet on his streams. One more time. Red or Go, can y'all link his Twitch channel for me? For anyone here that hasn't stopped by. Make sure y'all check him out. He's always here hanging out with us. He enters a lot of our tourneys too. So you guys can see these units in action as well. Elf, just hop in any channel. And I'll drag you in. Alright. DPS tea time and lifesteal meme build. Jeez. Thank you, Go. Alright, here he is. Let's bring him in. What's going on, Elf? Let's do a quick sound check.
Yo, Car, what's up?
Yo, I think I need to turn him up a little bit, chat. Alright, Elf, if you don't mind, say one more thing for us.
Alright.
How's he sound? Does that sound good? Does that sound good? Elf sounding great as usual, man. So we looked through the units.
Thank you for having me, Car, by the way.
Of course, man. I like to see the stuff. That way, because I mentioned, you always enter our tournaments. We always see you playing. I think for a lot of people, it's good to see what you're rocking. And the main thing I learned from you, one, some of your units are insane, first off. What was it, guys? What were the best units we saw? The Kise, the FCC.
Stanley has my best gear.
Stanley looks really good, too. There was some unique... The Tywin. I think the Tywin is so stat efficient. But the main thing I like... Because, guys, we've seen crazy gear all over the place, right? The thing I really like about Elvemage is the units that are kind of where I think a lot of people in chat were wondering, whoa, this guy's legend, but his units aren't even plus 12 or have plus 12 gear, right? Artifacts not even fully leveled. Elv, you have no fear when a unit is not, perfect. You'll still bring them out. You want to talk about that?
Because the most important thing about RTA is the drafting phase.
Ooh.
So if you get them on the draft,
I'll show you, Red.
You have a really high chance of winning, no matter what the gear.
So we take more stock.
That's why having a lot of units built is usually good.
So that's actually a common theme lately from the very high end RTA players, guys. The more units built, but this is taking to an extreme because when we look at like an account like Sedge's, I haven't seen his like at plus 12 gear, non-leveled artifacts. The stat line will be just okay, but you are like, hey, if the unit is there, all that matters is, you know. So what do we cut off? Like for the MRSA, for example, Elf, as long as for you
the MRSA is because I got finally I got the fast neck yesterday.
That's what you're waiting on.
Yeah, she's one of my only speed imprints, right? So I basically only bring her if I really need them to ban my speed imprint, or if they don't ban my speed imprint, I get the first turn either way.
Okay, but even units like the Alencia, you said you'll draft, right? And she's missing a plus 15 weapon, underforged helmet and neck. But we're not afraid to run them.
The Alencia is pretty rare for me to bring her, but I like having the option if I really need the stripper and there's an SSB on the field, then I might bring her.
Okay.
Right? I like having the option if I really need it in the draft.
Fair enough, man. So chat, gather any questions if you need to see any of the units, I can show them. But what I want to talk with you, Elf, let's focus on RTA. So you mentioned, right, having more units built is the best. Can I look at your... So we are in champ right now.
Yeah,
Let's look at the history. And let's just talk about the draft phase a little bit. I think a lot of people can learn. This review will be more catered towards my RTA players. Because that is... Elf, that RTA your favorite thing in the game?
Of course.
Of course, okay. He says of course. So let's look at one of the... Yeah, we'll start from the bottom. So Elf, run us through the draft phase here. What is your typical draft? Like I mentioned, chat, YouTube, if you haven't met him, Elphelt. He loves Elphelt. So if you're an Elphelt fan out there, make sure you pay attention.
Basically, I usually like to start with this, what we call the safe pick.
Okay.
Right? Or the OP picks, which are usually the knights, G.Purrg, or if you're cleaving the Cerises, we call them the safe picks. There's no real hard counters to them, or if they want to hard counter them, they already need to bring 2 units, which gives you an advantage on the draft.
And remember, guys, Elv one more time said the draft phase is the most important part of the game, which, wow, I love that take. So the most contested units, the most powerful, you're saying, right? The ones that demand 2 answers or something.
Those units and the safest.
And the safest.
The safest means knights.
Can you give a few examples? So you said G.Purrg, FCC. Anything else that comes to mind that you, in your experience, that you?
So basically, FCC, G.Purrg, Tywin, LR Krau, even Fluri if you want to. Cerise is also a good safe, first pick.
Really? Okay.
It means if Cerise first pick means you can either go to cleave or you can still play bruiser because she fits both roles, for example.
Got it. I like that. Okay, good game plan. So we did pick Solitaria here, and guys, Elv said Solitaria. If you want to push like high legend, she's gonna be a must pull. Heads up. Everyone else though.
Also,
Elv, real fast. Do you agree with my take that if it's a newer-ish player, that maybe they don't know if they want to do RTA yet, big time?
Yeah, definitely don't.
Right?
Definitely
she's not going to do enough for your account right now, so just, you know, unless you really like her looks.
She's only to complement the endgame players draft.
Right, I agree with that. Okay. Anything else you want to mention on the, so we go for the early...
Also right now, still about the first picks. Good first picks are also the best damage dealers right now, which are Landy and Stene. Those can be good first picks as well. If you have a nice protect the DPS draft, if you can do a nice protected DPS draft.
Sorry, you said Steny and who? Landy?
Steny and Landy, yeah. Definitely the best DPSs right now, by far.
Okay, so we go early pick knight or you know, safe units, contested units. Second or also first pick, he said Landy, Steny, and then from there, your game plan in particular, Elv. Do you usually draft when do we bring the Elphelt out? You said versus Bazaars and stuff, right?
Yeah, for instance, here my opponent picked Bazaar and Lilius to respond for my FCC Stene, and I brought 2 counters to Bazaar, plus giving me the option, if they let my Stene through, to burn on the Lilius and control the Lilius if I have to.
I love it, man. Guys, this is some big brain stuff. I'd probably have to make a flowchart for people that aren't super, me included, by the way, for just showing all the thoughts. So here's Elv saying draft is the most important part. Number 1, he's already considering what unit is safest, what unit needs the most answers. Then from there on, he picks a high damage unit. His opponent answers, and then he has multiple answers for that unit. So it's kind of like a back and forth dance. And there's so many things he's considering, countering, because he says if you win the draft, you win the game, right, Elv?
If you win the draft, you have a higher chance of winning the game. Even if you get out-geared.
Sure. Okay, that's fair enough. Anything else we want to say on this match in particular, this draft phase?
Yeah, another reason I like to bring Elphelt is because I don't have a lot of attack buffers built. It's usually G.Purrg, and she's my secondary attack buffer if I really need an attack buffer.
Got it. Okay. And then of course he last picked Solitaria, and your opponent banned it because he had the SSB, right? Okay.
And it gave me the choice to not ban the SSB if I like my draft against SSB. Even if they ban the Solitaria.
Right, which they did. And so you said you're still comfortable. Even if she makes it through, you'll be okay. In which case you were, because you still won.
Like, if Solitaria comes through, it's a free win. If she doesn't come through, I still like my draft into my opponent's draft.
Got it. All right. Let's see this. This one is a loss to Jinx, who's a very, very strong player. Elv, walk us through this one.
I picked Landy, I lost.
You picked Landy? We shouldn't have picked Landy?
No, my Landy drafts are bad. I don't like to play Landy. That's why my Landy her gear is nothing special, but I don't do good Landy drafts.
You know what I noticed though, Elv? We were talking, and guys, make sure you go back in the YouTube video or in the VOD. Elv's comment on DJB, amazing. And you said when your opponent early picks Bryceria Bazaar, right? You said Bazaar?
Bryceria or A Tywin.
Oh, you didn't. You said A Tywin, but your opponent actually picked DJB when you picked Bazaar.
I don't like it. I guess if I did a better draft, I could have punished that.
Okay, so you think that wasn't
I,
the best example for it here? Okay, fair enough.
I don't think so, right? Because Bazaar just burns, and
And then yeah,
if
it
I
ignores all
if
the
I
gear.
do a Bazaar cleave team, your DJB just dies.
You get pushed back. True. All right. So we just weren't super ready with the Landy pick. He banned out the haste. Okay, fair enough. Let's go to the one more here. We beat a legend player from Asia. You first picked Stene, and then here we go. The DJB. L picked the DJB versus the A win. Early pick.
Exactly.
Your opponent went for
If you
first
see
pick.
it, I win. If you see it, I win. Pick DJB.
Got it. All right. Yeah, early pick Stene, DJB, G.Purrg, Tomoka, and then we got the SSB. All right. Elv, anything else you want to tell the people? You guys have any other drafting questions? Anyone watching? They're asking about the LQC ban here. Elv, was that a target pre-ban?
No, I was. So I have a lot of F10 encounters, and I was facing a lot of LQCs that day. So I wanted to try out a different pre-ban, but I went back to F10 pre-ban. Was just trying something out.
Got it. We were just testing something. We still won though. Looks good. All right. Elv, while someone wanted to see the G.Purrg stats real fast. Elv, anything you want to just talk about in terms of drafting RTA? Your experience last season, this season? I know you said you're going, you're having a lot of fun in RTA 1. 2, we invested a lot more into the game, so we're loving RTA. Yeah, give us just some quick thoughts on RTA as a whole.
So basically, I was playing the game normally, casually, and casually, but still played every day, farmed every day, normal.
Yeah.
And then on season 2, I started to do RTA more seriously, and I was quite surprised, honestly, that I had a really high win rate in Legend, and I was like, wait a second, I can compete in Epic 7? Is this for real? I had no idea I could, right?
Yeah.
I was not a whale, I didn't have many ML5s. I had 8 high win.
Sure.
Though. And season 2 I managed to get Legend. That's when I realized I could compete in this game, and I started to invest more, started with the idea of streaming, and when I started streaming, Twitch chat also sponsored a lot of my units, my new units, and yeah,
shout out to Twitch chat.
Exactly, and so far I've been enjoying it a lot more.
I love it, man.
Even though it's the G.Purrg meta and everything, I really like RTA.
You like RTA, and so you didn't become competitive until not from the get-go. You didn't have that in mind. It was when you realized, you know, hey, I'm starting to win here, even at some of the higher levels of play. Let me now start taking it more seriously, and then you started streaming. You started spending a little bit more.
Around the end of season 2. I was with around 70, almost 70% win rate in Legend. I was like, what? I can compete in this game?
Right.
No way.
There's a question from chat. Why no immunity on the General Purrgis?
I'm out of gear.
Out of gear, but if you could, you would run immunity and without sacrificing too much crit chance?
If I could, I would run every single one of my units on immunity.
And there it is, boys. That's the exact take. Immunity is it's literally almost never bad, right?
Exactly.
But a lot of times it's either due to it's never bad. Either due to gearing, or sometimes, you know, you can get away with it. Some units can get away with it more often than not. Yeah. And then, you know, sometimes you'll need that crit chance. It's really up to gearing. So I guess the difference is identify if the unit absolutely needs it or can kind of get away with it. And then from there, you can decide based on how much gear you have.
And then also depends on the gear you have available to you, right? Because most of my units are built with the gear that I have, right? Not with the stats that I want them to be with.
And I love that. So one more time, guys, the main thing that I like personally about Elv's account, it's not the crazy gear units. It's the fact that the units, he's ready to run them because his philosophy is the draft phase is the most important. The more units you have built, the bigger advantage you have. So he said whatever gear he has available, even if someone, you know, is telling him you need these stats to run if you want to go for Legend, he'll test it himself. And a lot of these units, right, Elv? Not even full reforge. Let me find some examples. Not full reforge, sometimes missing like full leveled artifacts. The gear, the stats might be a little bit lower than people expect.
My core units are with my best gear. I'll reforge and everything, but the more niche picks you have, the better you'll succeed on the draft. So even if they can't have the best gear, at least I have that niche option. And if that niche situation appears, she will dominate even though she doesn't have legend quality gear.
Right. Okay. Elv, anything I can't remember what else. I think I covered most of the stuff that I wanted to talk with Elv about. Any other units you want to tell? So like kind of, I guess like the Solitaria, maybe under like DJB we sort of talked about. Anything you think units people are sleeping on? By what I mean by that is, you know, underutilized units or units that are really strong that you don't see a lot of players taking advantage of.
I think then Elphelt is one of them.
Yeah,
just
actually,
because,
you're the premier Elphelt user right now.
Yeah, just because if you have Bazaar plus Elphelt in the draft and they don't ban one of the pieces of the combo,
Yeah.
you win. You automatically win if you outspeed with your Bazaar. You're gonna defense break everybody, even an 8 win or an FCC with full defense break and attack buff. She will almost one-shot everybody on the opposing team.
Wow. Well,
So the Bazaar Elphelt combo, you can't let it through unless you have a plan around it.
I love it. So the Bazaar Elphelt combo, he says very good. Elphelt is one unit he says a lot of players, even post buff, are still not utilizing. Chat, any other last second questions? Wait, what is Shrimpin saying? I don't understand the statement. Simpin. Here's my experience with what he just said. Let me see this route. All right. Yeah, Elf, go ahead and just talk. Anything else?
Also, one of the only, still about the immunity talk, one of the only situations I can think about where you get punished by having immunity is the Landy Soulburn for cleavers.
Oh, that's actually, I remember you mentioning this when you were just in chat sometimes. The
yeah. I think it's one of the only ways you get punished with immunity nowadays.
Right. And the thing is though, she's almost in every draft, right? Almost every match you see a Landy.
And cleavers use her almost always as well, so.
Yeah. Red is also saying Kise S1 having an extra, you know, having a buff there will give her more damage. Right?
I think that if Kise gets through the draft and your opponent doesn't outspeed her or just kill her, you usually win either way.
So it's a win more. That's a common term I like to use. It's a win more feature. You've already won at that point. Sure, I can agree with that. But he's not wrong. You know, it is sort of a...
Gabs, S3s, usually win those drafts if that situation happens.
Right.
Also, another combo I've been enjoying a lot is my Kise with DJ Bazaar.
Tell us about that. What's the interaction between Kise? Is it just the follow up? So Kise goes first. DJB will be able to push her again to get a quick lap. Yeah. And wait, real fast. Also, with that being said, Elf, have you been testing Wind Rider instead of Basket?
No, I have a plus 30 baskets, so
you just like it more than Wind Rider. Okay.
Well use it.
I think with that combo though, the basket might be it could be a little bit win more like we mentioned, but I do think you might want to try that out.
And one thing I like about basket on Kise is that it actually makes her survive more if you gab. Other than just the potential to one shot, it also gives her more survivability because her shield scales on attack.
That's a good point, guys. I actually like that. All right, that's pretty cool. All right, we have a question from Greater. Do you draft any other strippers besides Bazaar with Elphelt? What if they ban Bazaar?
You can also do it with Cerise. Elphelt is good by herself, even though if you can't have... The thing is, Bazaar, Elphelt, you win if they don't answer it.
So they have to answer it.
Yeah, you can still use Elphelt without Bazaar. I still do it. Yeah, you saw that one match. I didn't have Bazaar. It's just if you can do it with Cerise as well. Cerise also boosts the Elphelt damage because more debuffs. I don't usually go for that draft, but it's a draft that I know if I have Bazaar and then I pick Elphelt and they let both through, they're doomed.
Got it. Okay, sounds good. Chat, any last minute questions? I love it though, man. So Elphelt Bazaar combos, DJB Solitaria are nice pickups from Elf's opinion. Just watch the VOD for the full explanations. Draft phase is the most important thing. You have a very high chance of winning if you get more units built. You can sometimes get away with less gear, with less immunity, but immunity, in Elf's opinion, always good if you can have it. Someone in chat says,
don't go not gearing a unit just because you can't have immunity.
Right. And then also, don't not gear a unit because it's not perfect stats, right? Or recommended, because sometimes you'll try to get away with less.
Another thing about immunity is on the draft, it makes a really big difference on the draft phase, knowing that you have a unit on immunity or on guiding light.
Right.
you see an AC, and you know you have immunity or a guiding light on your unit, and you can just ignore the AC instead of that panic must ban, for example.
All right, we have a question though. What would you do without the A Tywin? Because you mentioned he was one of the very important units, right, that you had early for some success.
Yeah, especially for season 2, where I didn't have many units built.
Yeah.
It was all in all my drafts basically, and even on season 3, right?
Do we still draft him a lot?
I think he has lost a lot of value this season.
Really?
Especially because of DJ Bazaar, yeah.
Oh.
No, he doesn't. He hasn't lost value. He has lost value as an early pick.
No, yeah.
I don't like to do the early pick Tywin anymore. I still like to do the 3rd, 4th, 5th pick Tywin. Still insane.
And I pulled up 5 matches real fast, Elv. You only played 1 out of like the 5 matches I looked at. Yeah. So yeah.
Usually, if you see nowadays, if you see an early pick Tywin, it's either because I'm against the cleaver or because they pre-ban my knights / pick my knights.
All right, and then we have, I think, one last question. What do you think about a Vildred? Triple S or just S? Wait, what is that?
S.
Triple S A Vildred?
Of course, but I have mine on B only.
Maria, I heard your PoE build is insane. So yeah, B only, but you would... Was he... Yeah, Alv, let me ask a question. Who's the best Triple S candidate? Is it Arby's one of them?
The best Triple S candidate? It has to be something on crit chance on or ER Awaken.
ER Awaken, okay, crit chance or ER Awaken.
Something like, for example, DJB. I wish I didn't imprint my normal Bazaar and just gave all the imprints for my DJB.
That's
because
actually true.
ER Awaken, any crit chance awakens OP, any speed awakens OP, right?
Of course. All right. Alrighty, Elv. I'll give you any last minute things you want to say to me, to YouTube, to the chat, and Red, if you could, please do one more round of shoutouts for him, if you would kindly.
I want to thank you, Car, for hosting me and for giving us entertainment during the week. And also want to thank you and your community for what you've been doing every Saturday.
Yes.
I really like it. It keeps the community more involved in the game. You're making the game die slower, which I like it as well.
That's an interesting way to put it. But yes, big shout out to Hesmana, to Late, to Mag, all the people, to Lucid, and then Strife is actually... maybe I shouldn't have spoiled this yet, but Strife might have something planned. Yeah, the community's amazing. We'd love to see you guys in the tournament. We need to see Jinte more in the tournaments. But yeah, Elv, it's always a pleasure having you. Thank you for coming on and sharing. I love the drafting tips. I think I want to have you on one more time, and we skip the units, and we talk about just pure drafting, because I think you have such a good take on draft style, draft, IQ, things like that.
I would be honored.
All right, man. Well, if that's it, guys, make sure you check him out. Now, real fast, schedule. What's your normal? You're usually on before me, right? In the day?
Yeah, so 3 p.m. WET to 9 p.m. WET.
WET?
Western European time.
Western European time, guys. Okay. Elf, thank you. It's truly been a pleasure. Thank you, my man. Take it easy.
Same. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Bye. All right, boys. Elf for president, man.